For anybody that tuned in to basically any of the days of the RNC, what they saw was a message of unity and hope and change, basically the embodiment of what the Democrats have been promising us since 2008, right? And they still haven't found a way to deliver. And it's been remarkable to watch, man. I can't even really decide what has been more fascinating to watch. Either the Republicans finally showing the world what and who they really are right now today, or the Democrats revealing to the world and really, really revealing to the world who they really are, as they took a conservative message of hope and they try to slander it. They try to slander the people bringing a message of hope at the same time that, they're pounding the drum of democracy while they're working behind the scenes to subvert it in every way, any way that they possibly can. And here's a little bit of what the left now takes exception with.
And our message to Gen Z is this: you're going to be the generation that actually saves this country. You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative. Say you want to get married, have kids, teach them to believe in God and pledge allegiance to their country. Because you know what? Fear has been infectious in this country, but courage can be contagious too. That too is what it means to be an American.
I mean, isn't it wild? That is exactly where we are at in modern times. Being conservative, being a traditionalist, and a traditionalist, all that means is you believe in the nuclear family, you believe, you have faith, you love your country. That is now counterculture. I mean, the status quo, the liberal status quo is now pro-war, pro-big government, pro-big pharma, pro-big business, pro-the man. They are the man. The liberal Democrats status quo. They're now disgusted by the flag and disgusted by really everything that Vivek just said. And how crazy is that? I mean, he's absolutely right. The Democrats, they always want to talk about how the party switched, right? And they talk about that to somehow convince people that they're no longer the racist, segregationist slaver party that they were. And of course, that they still are. That's exactly who those people are. But the party's changing, right? The party's changing is happening right now. And it's funny, the left, they always talk about Donald Trump taking over the Republican Party. Like the Republicans have no spine. It's Donald Trump's party now. And they frame that like it's a bad thing. But the way I look at it is this: if Donald Trump is turning the Republican Party into the true party of the working class, the working man, the true party of the middle class, the true party of no more brave service members needlessly dying all across the world in places that most of us can't find on a map, and he's turning that party into America first, how is that a bad thing? I mean, and just like Trump said last night, the left, they're talking about stopping MAGA. And when they talk about that, they're talking about stopping making America great. And there's nothing to stop. They can't stop that, and he's absolutely right, And the left, man, they cannot handle these sorts of message. They can't combat it with actual facts. They have no record to actually run on. They can't really talk about anything that is actually real. So they demagogue, they lie, and they honestly, they just go into true desperation mode. The left is desperate. These people are absolutely desperate. And they're going to do anything they can to destroy anyone that disagrees with them, right? Because that is the only answer that they have to anything that is true.
To those of you watching this at home tonight, I'd like to deliver a message that the media doesn't want you to hear from the Republican Party. Our message to Black Americans is this: the media has tried to convince you for decades that Republicans don't care about your communities, but we do. We want for you what we want for every American: safe neighborhoods, clean streets, good jobs, a better life for your children, and a justice system that treats everyone equally, regardless of your skin color and regardless of your political beliefs. Our message to every legal immigrant in this country is this: you're like my parents. You deserve the opportunity to secure a better life for your children in America. But our message to illegal immigrants is also this: we will return you to your country of origin, not because you're all bad people, but because you broke the law. And the United States of America was founded on the rule of law. Our message to millennials, speaking as one myself, yes, it's true. Our government sold us a false bill of goods with the Iraq War and the 2008 financial crisis, loading up our national debt that falls on our generation's shoulders, telling us that if we took out college loans, we'd somehow get a head start on the American dream, when it hasn't worked out that way. But we can't just be cynical about our country, because the United States of America is still the last best hope that we have, and we deserve a better class of politician, one who actually tells us the truth, even if it comes with some mean tweets from time to time.
Everything that he said is not only true, but it makes perfect sense. And it blows my mind, man, that anyone believes in the year 2024 that there's some magical policy or magical politician that can just enact something that's going to help only Black Americans, right? As if people still believe that things actually work that way. And honestly, the even more amazing thing is, if people actually do believe that, if the brainwashed Democrat voter really believes that those kind of policies and those kind of people exist, then how are they not just so incredibly pissed off that no one has ever delivered any in 100 years? How do they not put that all together? I mean, and how can people in the media like Van Jones, how do these people not hear these kind of things and just wake up? And how do they not recognize that they're just as responsible, if not more, as any politician, right? And they can't answer it. You know, they can't prove Vivek wrong. So they just do the only thing they really know how to do, and they try to destroy.
He's a demagogue. He's just a demagogue. He's good at it, though. That whole vote Trump. I mean, I was taking notes. That works. You know, if you're gonna try to get.
Were you persuaded?
I was not. But I mean, look, I don't like the patronizing stuff about Black folks. They're trying hard to reach Black folks, and I just think they don't understand. We didn't miss the fact that the Republican Party, the party of Lincoln, a party that started as a radical anti-slavery party, became a safe haven for some white nationalists that have not been aggressively shown the door yet. We didn't miss that. African Americans are one of the most politically sophisticated and engaged populations in the country. So when people act like we're dumb, we just somehow missed that there are people in the Republican Party who have been unfriendly. You just lose the audience from the door with.
Dude, I feel bad for him, man. Just listen to the copium from Van Jones. That's all that is. That's just poor Van Jones working through his own brainwashing live on TV, man. He says that Republicans patronize Black Americans and think they're stupid, right? As he literally supports a president who told him that if you don't vote for me, then you ain't Black. I mean, Van Jones says that he hasn't missed the fact that there are some racists in the Republican Party who haven't been shown the door aggressively enough, or whatever he said. And again, he supports a president who literally eulogized a Klan member, who he called a mentor and a friend. And as far as I've been able to find, Van Jones has never, ever explained or tried to reconcile any of those things, never even mentioned them. And honestly, before we take anything these people say on this topic, especially, before we take anything they say seriously, I think they should have to do that. And remember, this is not the first time that Van Jones has tried to label Vivek a demagogue or whatever, but the last time he did it, Vivek had a response that I think is even more perfect today.
We demand a government that tells us the truth again in this country. That's what we require. We can handle the truth. That's what it means to be a citizen of this country. So I say that on that last debate stage to a bunch of Republicans that are shaking in their boots. These are the things you're not supposed to say in the Republican Party even today. And then you get the mainstream media. You got this character Van Jones on CNN afterwards saying, this is the rise of an American demagogue who's going to live 50 years longer than Trump. This is dangerous. I am shaking. That's what he says. Just shut the fuck up. At a certain point, just shut the fuck up. Van Jones at CNN. We're done with it.
It's about right, man. And then, honestly, as crass as that might be, that's probably how we need to start responding to these people when they just can't stop sounding stupid. Because the truth is, people like Van Jones and all the other lazy propagandists, they really are creating two kinds of people in this country. The people too polluted, too intellectually poisoned to listen to reason, and the people that actually aren't even listening to them at all anymore. These people are losing their effect. And really, I think it all comes down to living. Young people cannot afford to live in Joe Biden's America. They're starting to come to the realization that they do not have anything to lose by joining the conservative movement, and the conservative movement that apparently now is the hippie counterculture.
Gen Z is hopping on the Trump train. I'm at the RNC right now, where thousands of Republicans, including tons of Gen Z voters, are rallying to nominate Trump. It used to be common wisdom that the youth voted left and the middle and old-aged voted right. But now that trend appears to be reversing. The latest polls show that the Gen Z vote, which Biden won by about 20 points in 2020, is now in play. One poll even put Trump ahead of Biden by 8 points among 18 to 29-year-olds. These past few weeks, I spoke with several Zoomers who told me that they simply can't get by between gas prices and the rising cost of living. The swing is even apparent on TikTok, where many Gen Z voters flocked in late May after Trump's criminal conviction to proudly announce that they were voting for the felon. A few days later, Trump posted his first TikTok, a post that earned him more than 1 million followers overnight. Now, after Saturday's assassination attempt, Gen Z's biggest male icons, including boxer Jake Paul, YouTuber FaZe Banks, and Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy, rushed online to praise the former president's gangster response to the shooting. Biden was supposed to have Gen Z in the bag. This was the White House that once trotted out Olivia Rodrigo to encourage youths to get the COVID jab. His administration has reshaped Title IX law to protect students with alternative gender identities, forgiven $167 billion in student debt, and made combating climate change a priority. All moves that were expected to excite the youth vote. And yet, a recent poll shows the GOP now leading in support among those under 30. I'm Olivia Reingold at the RNC, and you can read my full piece on why America's Zoomers are turning MAGA at thefp.com.
Obviously, man, there is an eternity until November, right? There's no telling what kind of tricks the party of democracy has up their sleeves, no telling who they're going to replace Biden or Kamala with, or even if they're going to be able to pull that off. They really want to pull that off. Anything can happen, right? But people are waking up. Regardless of what happens, people are waking up. And really, people have been waking up for a very, very long time. They're actually seeing that Donald Trump is not the guy that they've been told he is. They see a guy that's fighting in literally every single way, fighting through everything. Things, honestly, it's hard to believe that any one person could actually fight through. The civil suits, laws changed and manipulated to embarrass him and to try and destroy him, bankrupt him, indictments, impeachments, assassins coming for the guy. And every single thing that happens, he just gets up and he keeps fighting. And the propagandists, the last thing they want you to see is the truth. They are literally begging you not to look at who Donald Trump really is. MSNBC, they won't carry his speeches anymore because they don't want you to hear for yourself what the guy actually says. And the ladies on The View, they'll even attack a 17-year-old Trump granddaughter to keep people from even almost seeing who Donald Trump really is.
For me, I have a lot of faith in the American people. And I don't know very many men who want to be talked to the way that this man has been talking to men in his audience. I don't know any women, and I know his grandchild was up on the thing, and they're trying to humanize him and change your idea about who this guy is. Don't fall for that.
Trump, you're talking about. Yeah. Talking about Trump.
Whoopi Goldberg, man, says that she has faith in the American people, that she literally begs them, don't listen to this man's granddaughter. Listen to Whoopi. Whatever you do, don't let them humanize Donald Trump. Don't let them change your idea of who the guy is. And the idea that was literally brought to you by people just like Whoopi Goldberg. The same people that tried to convince you that Donald Trump promised a bloodbath, he led an insurrection, and he's going to single-handedly, all by himself, end American democracy. It sounds crazy because it is, man. And the good news is people see it. They see When they look at Whoopi, they see a limousine liberal with no credibility who is attacking a child in order to save her own grift, basically. That's all they see. They see everything that is going on, and they see a Donald Trump that never, ever stop fighting. And really, even if you've been led to hate the guy, how could you possibly not choose the proven fighter over the people that literally hid Joe Biden's brain malfunction from you, right? And now they're trying to get rid of the guy altogether, but they're not trying to get rid of Joe Biden because of what they see. They're trying to get rid of Joe Biden because of what they know you see. And how could anyone on the planet choose the party who doesn't even know what candidate they're going to try and shove down your throat after their voters have already spoken over this guy?
Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey, comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was. What this administration, the damage that this administration has done, and I say it often, if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. Only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. This administration can't come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce people. They're fierce people. And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. And we're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, USMCA, I got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, probably the best trade deal was the deal I made with China, where they buy $50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to. But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus. At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. Together we will save this country. We will restore the republic, and we will usher in the rich and wonderful tomorrows that our people so truly deserve. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before. And quite simply put, we will very quickly make America great again. Thank you very much.
You got to keep perspective, man, in everything in life. Everything you see, you got to keep perspective in life, in business, everything. I mean, perspective paints the full picture, and you always need the full picture. And the full picture is this is a guy that just 5 days before speaking took a bullet to the side of his face. And he knows that if not for less than a half an inch, he'd be dead. The man would be dead. I mean, Donald Trump, he spoke for an hour and a half. He laid out a plan for America economically, emotionally, everything. And he was obviously very, very thankful that he had the chance to do it. You know, he talked about unity and prosperity and the rebirth of the American dream. And this is the takeaway from a dishonest media that has been literally trying to destroy the guy for almost a decade.
This came in over an hour and a half long. This was a Fidel Castro kind of experience.
There's energy down here now, but during that speech, there definitely were some folks dozing off. A few lawmakers snuck out early.
It's a bizarre feeling that I'm not sure I'm able to fully articulate right now. They're painting it as a party, but it is a deeply divisive message.
You've seen this kind of election before. You see the same thing in Hungary. Like the Orbanism of the party is, it's rooted in returning white Christian men, but also white men, white adjacent men, you know, right. Black men, brown right. men who are like white adjacent in terms of trying to also be in that dominant position in society. And then you have women who are willing to go along with that, right? There are a certain number of women who are also willing, the trad wife sort of thing.
Just think about this, man, and think about who these people really are. I mean, Joy Reid, the same journalist that still believes or pretends to believe, she wants her victims to believe that Donald Trump wasn't even shot. In her mind, in their minds, the man, he could never, ever be any kind of victim, right? And this is the kind of insanity that she uncorks. They come after white adjacent trad wives, which that's leftist slang for traditional wife, which of course, if you're a leftist, you mean that as an insult. I mean, this is who these people are. And imagine, just think about how these people, how this media would probably respond to other great moments in not just Republican history, but American history. They would, I promise you, they would tell you that Reagan at the Berlin Wall was just dangerous, you know, bringing us to nuclear war, whatever. They would tell you that Lincoln with the Gettysburg Address was just about death, right? I mean, nothing they tell you is accurate. It is just, it's intellectual pollution, man. And because of these people, there really are people that are so poisoned that no matter what we do, no matter what true information that gets put in front of them, they just can't do it. They're too poisoned. These are the people they're going to support instead. They're going to support whatever Joy Reid tells them. You know, the people that promise, they're going to support the people that promise to you are the last guards of democracy, the last hope of America's future, and that say that, you know, they're for good and decency that they see in Joe Biden or whatever. But this is who these people really are. They are Joy Reid. And some of them have gone so insane that even the less insane, they can't really even handle it anymore.
These two men are both elderly. Donald Trump is an elderly man who, for whatever reason, was given 9 seconds to take a iconic photo op during an active shooter situation. Weird situation. We'll figure that out one day. But his survival of that and bouncing right back and going right to his convention is being conveyed in the media world as a sign of strength. This current president of the United States is 81 years old and has COVID. Should he be fine in a couple of days? Doesn't that convey exactly the same thing?
No. No, it doesn't.
Okay. I mean, are you serious, Joy? Are you serious? I mean, these MSNBC hosts look totally unhinged. Several of them, including Joy Reid, were questioning if the event was staged in a sense. They're like, oh, it's a really weird coincidence. What's going on? And look at what she said. For 9 seconds was allowed to do a photo. He's the president of the United States. He just got shot. And
former president of the United States.
Yeah, I got you. But the former presidents are still called president.
Right.
And so you're begrudging him putting up his fist after he got shot. First of all, that's just nuts. Second of all, any of these things like, oh, isn't it curious how they stage things? No, you're egging on people on your side to think crazy things.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, Michael Steele did the same thing, again, on MSNBC.
I'm not going to lie, man. Something is actually happening over on the Young Turks. I mean, they are still crazy people. I'm not probably ever going to disagree with them on policy, at least not yet. You know, they could keep coming around, but at least they're not liars. You know, they remind me of the old Bernie Sanders before the DNC actually like really took ownership of the poor old guy. You know, I didn't agree with him, but I knew that he at least believed what he said he believed. And Anna and Cenk, man, even on the left, they seem to believe what they say, right? And they're right. That is insane. And that is dangerous. And it's making leftists literally crazy. I mean, all over the country, man. These people, they're becoming pretty sick and pretty twisted. And now the world, it's kind of good because the world gets to see it. And honestly, I think it's the best thing that they could possibly see. And I do believe that if enough people open their eyes to who Donald Trump really is and who these leftists really, really are, then there's no way that our movement can be denied, man. And honestly, if a liberal super donor and suppressor of laptops can see this and feel this way, anything can happen.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, I mean, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I mean, the historic events over the weekend. And I mean, on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, I mean, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to argue with, man. We are living through a very, very special moment, and everything is aligning to allow us to do something very, very special, not for a country, but as a country, right? And we can turn back the clock, man, to when the truth actually mattered, before the Joy Reids of the world. And really, when you look at the trajectory of Donald Trump himself, it really does feel a lot to me like the trajectory of truth. You know, when people are confronted with things they don't accept, truths they can't accept, they ridicule it, just like they did in 2016, they ridiculed him. If that doesn't work, they oppose it with violence. We saw that in the summer of 2020. Actually, we saw it right at his inauguration, and we saw it last Saturday. And then finally, man, after all things are exhausted, it just becomes accepted as true. And honestly, I think that's what we're seeing right now. But guys, that's just my take, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.